Hello everybody. Technology not only predicts human behavior, it also manipulates it. There is sufficient evidence, and we have already talked about this issue in several videos of mine. But today we are going to go a step ahead and try to understand how does technology commercially and economically exploits human behavior, in fact human emotions. Have you ever seen United Nations World Food Programme's advertisement regarding share the meal application of theirs? If you haven't seen, then you need to before you go ahead with this video. There is a link in the description. And after you have watched the video, come back and we will try to understand how the technology is commercially and economically exploiting human emotions, human feelings, human sentiments. But wait a second, is it the technology that is doing it? No, it is the people who are in control of the technology. In this case, it's United Nations. There are several examples out there in which corporate houses, non-state actors, international organizations are resorting to the use of technology in order to control human beings. And while doing so, they are not doing something for the welfare of mankind. In fact, they are using technology in order to commercially exploit the vulnerability of human beings. So I'll wait for you. You pause at the moment, you go and watch the video, and then please come back. How was the video? I know that most of you felt bad watching the video. And also you have this feeling of empathy because you so want to help those kids out. If you had that application downloaded onto your smartphone and some money at your disposal, you would have already made the donations. But there is a big problem in the way it is being done. Yes, it's not about the aim that the whole advertisement campaign wants to achieve. Of course, that aim is never going to be realized. Because again, you are shifting the burden of the system from the system to an individual. That's not how you take care of things, because in that case, they are not sustainable. It means that the food for those kids depend on we human beings who can afford to pay for them 50 cents every day. How many kids will benefit from this? Is the system leaving those kids at the mercy of other human beings? Is that the fate of those kids? No, that's the worst thing that could ever happen. When you leave a human being to live at the mercy of other human being, that should not be acceptable to humanity. But that is not what I'm talking about here. I'm saying that the way it's being done is against humanity. It's against the process of logical thinking, rationality. In fact, it is exploiting the vulnerabilities of a human being in order to distort the system and corrupt and skew its functioning. And I'll tell you why. What was the first thing that you did notice in the advertisement campaign, Share the Meal? The first thing they show you in the video is the facts. They tell you that 1 in 7 children is hungry. 1 in 7 children go to bed every day without food. By doing this, they are telling you how big the problem is, how serious the problem is. And at that moment, you start feeling bad about those kids. Now, there is a problem and you are feeling bad about that problem. What do they show you the next? And then they propose a solution. And the solution is that you can donate 50 cents every day, because with 50 cents, you can sponsor a kid's meals for a day. Now, this is how it works. First, they tell you the facts. The facts, the understanding of facts allows us to conclude onto a proposition. And that proposition is that there is a problem. So the facts are that these many people, these many kids have to go to sleep every day hungry without any food. That's the fact. And the problem, the conclusion onto the problem is that there is a problem of hunger in the world. Now, when you have a problem, you want to find the solution. And their solution is that you have to donate. You should consider donating 50 cents a day so that 50 cents, with 50 cents, they can buy food. They can provide food to one kid. Now, the solution itself is not sustainable, as I told you a while ago. Also, it's inhuman. But at the same time, you have to look at the further narration of the solution. How does it work? Now, this is how it works. Remember the facts again. I'm sorry, I have to repeat things to make you understand that completely. Remember the facts that made you feel bad. And when you were feeling bad, you came to the problem. And if you solve that problem, then you might not feel bad. But there is a step that this advertisement campaign needs to take in order to escalate that problem to such a height that upon considering that, you will definitely act on whatever the advertisement is trying to tell you. So just one more time, facts make you feel bad. And when you are feeling bad, you want to identify the problem. Why are you feeling bad? And the problem is that kids are going to sleep hungry. There is hunger, right? And because you are feeling bad, you want to find a solution to that problem. And the solution is that you have to give 50 cents a day. But they just need one more thing to make sure that you end up giving those 50 cents. And that thing is when they tell you how privileged you are because you have a smartphone. So they compare the number of hungry kids to the number of smartphone users. And they are trying to convey a message to you that you are in the position where you can really help those kids merely because of their narration of the problem and the solution. That's not the real solution, but that's how they project it to you. Merely because you have a smartphone, it means that you should take the burden, the social burden onto your own shoulders, and you should spend 50 cents a day to help those kids out. Now, the point is that if you have the money and you can afford to give the money to the kids, that's not an issue. It should be fine. But at the same time, remember those considerations when we talked about what's wrong with this approach. This approach is not sustainable. In fact, it's inhuman. It reduces human beings to a level below humanity. That's what we do to our animals. But the point of this video is not about this aspect. The point of this video is to try and understand how those institutions like United Nations, which is respected by everybody, is engaging in these activities, in humanizing the means that they are adopting in order to make people engage in certain activities that are not going to lead to any substantial change in the world. And the way they do this, by playing that mind game with the audience, with the target audience, is the worst. First, you make people feel bad about something that is the result of systemic designing. And then you try to tell them that they are very privileged to have a smartphone. And then you kind of coerce them psychologically to make sure that they end up paying 50 cents a day. It's not about 50 cents. It's not about $1 million. It's not about $1 billion. It's much more than that. It's how human beings are being treated by those who are in the position to affect them. This is what is happening in this campaign, advertisement campaign. Let's look further what happens in the advertisement campaign. They tell you that the application, Share the Meal application, allows you to share your meal with the children in need. What does that tell us about the advertisement campaign? It means that they want to make you feel very good. They want to make you feel very relevant in solving the problem because it will take only 50 cents and a tap on your smartphone when you are using that application, and you will feel that you are doing your best as much as you can with only 50 cents a day in order to make this world a better place. So they are again resorting to psychological tricks in order to make you feel good about yourself after you have done that 50 cents donation. Now, amazing thing about technology is that it has brought us all together temporally and spatially. It means that the space, the distance between us has been reduced. If I send you an email today, you will receive that within a second. If I want to call you, I can use my smartphone and look at you while I'm talking to you. So it means that the response time has reduced to almost nothing, less than a second. And the distance has been reduced as well. Now, whenever you have this kind of scenario prevailing in our society, we all get used to instant gratification. Instant gratification tells us that whenever we are doing something, we want response very quickly in that very moment. It has stopped us from keeping any patience. We are not patient anymore because as we have observed our behavior on technological platforms, whenever you do something, you get a response immediately from the person. So that's why nobody is patient anymore. Everybody wants to feel happy, or everybody wants to get response so that they can feel okay, satisfied after getting that response. Now, this thing can be applied to this advertisement campaign as well. Why? Because they told you what the problem is and you felt bad when you saw those kids hungry, and that's why you want to engage in the act of instant gratification. And that's why you think that it's only 50 cents. I have the app on my phone and I can engage in that kind of act by making the instant donation. Now, in the advertisement campaign also, if you will realize that they tell you the same thing about the temporal and the spatial aspect. They tell you that you can make the donation anytime you want. You can make it from anywhere you want. And they also tell you before they are ending the campaign in the video that please make the donation today. So they do not even want to give you time, because if they give you time, it allows you, I know that most of the people are not in the condition to do that, but if they give you time, it allows you to think about things. Only theoretically these days, but at least there is a chance that you might end up thinking about the campaign. But no, they don't want to give you time. They tell you that it's today, 50 cents, and you just want to make sure that that one kid you think you will be adopting virtually as far as food is concerned, at least that person will be getting the meal. Not only this, on the app they tell you where the children are. So you can have an illusion that as you are sending the money, only 50 cents a day, it is reaching the kids that are virtually present on the screen of your smartphones. And this illusion further reinforces the idea that you really need to go through this whole process in order to get that feeling of instant gratification. And in that way, you can feel something meaningful about yourself, about your conduct. Because when you are helping others, that's the real feeling of happiness. And that's why it is a very dangerous idea to have such kind of advertisement campaigns in place. Such advertisement campaigns, they undermine human logic, they undermine human rationality, they undermine the intellectual process that one has to take into account before arriving at decisions that are likely to contribute in making this world a better place. Before I go, just one more thing. These advertisement campaigns totally rely on the way human beings have started to behave in response to technological advancement. You can incite human beings, you can arouse their feelings, their sentiments, their passion on the basis of these facts. And on that, you can really exploit them because they want instant gratification by giving them an application that will make it happen. And this is really not a good thing in order to bring a sustainable change in the world. Thank you so much. Keep yourself safe.